رياضة وفي السلوك. في هذا المسجد we will continue Tafsir Surah Falaq. I will ask Sheikh Sahib to recite it another time.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد. صدق الله العظيم.
صدق الله العظيم وبلغ رسوله الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين الشاكرين بقلب سليم. We already explained the two verses before. قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق. Say, I seek refuge with Allah, the Lord of the daybreak, from the evil of what He has created. And we continue. ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب. As it is translated in English, and from the evil of the darkening night, as it comes with its darkness, or the moon as it sets or goes away. ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب. From the ومن شر, from the evil or from the harm that we are going to face. Facing through what? Through that darkness. Al-Ghasiq, Al-Ghasaq, and the noun for it is Al-Ghasiq. Al-Ghasiq is Al-Layl al-Muzlim, the very heavy dark night, that there is no light, completely dark. You cannot see anything. If you are in a desert or in an area that there are no civilization or buildings, you cannot see anything when it is very dark. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, have to seek refuge in me from those dark nights. Because at night, shaitan are running out. Satans are running out. Devils are running out. In darkness, also, interpretation and meaning, the dark nights of the heart, that the ego will be running after its self-desires. The desires, the bad desires. When your heart is full out of darkness, you have to seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to take that darkness out. And that is described as وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ. Waqab means when it's very hardly making an opening inside your heart, like making a hole. When you say a rock, it has waqab in it, means has a hole in it that can hold water. You can put water in it, it doesn't go away. So وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ means from the most concentrated darkness that can be experienced and can be seen. Like you are saying, you are like a laser. When you focus it very sharp, it becomes like that waqab. It's very sharp that it can go through anything and make a hole. So that kind of darkness, Allah is telling us, you have to be careful of. that darkness is going to give you all kinds of problems in your life. He described it as the dark night. That in dark nights, a lot of problems. Because in dark nights, you don't know. You go on the street, you might find hundreds of people will rob you, or people will kill you, and you don't know who killed you even. Similarly, in these dark nights, the darkness of the heart, when it is completely sinking into the ocean of desires, bad desires, you are not able to see anything anymore from spirituality or from light. You will be immersed in that darkness. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling you, you are losing yourself by falling into that dark night of the heart. Also, at night, all kinds of conspiracy, people, they conspire against each other mostly at night. Jinn and the marada of the jinn are also at night. Lions and cats and tigers and wild animals are also at night. You don't see them during the day, they are sleeping. So everything wild comes in that dark night. Means everything wild of your manners and characteristics, filling your heart, bringing darkness into your heart, so they will awake when your heart is dead. And that's why people's hearts full of that darkness, you see the wild animality is coming through their hearts and filling them with all kind of badness. And Allah saying, Ya Muhammad, say, I seek refuge in Allah from the evil of the darkness night as it comes with its darkness. Or, the other explanation, or the moon as it sets or goes away. Why the moon? Moon? Why Allah mentioned the moon? Al-Ghasiq in Arabic also is the moon. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. Why the moon? The moon, it has light. But in reality, the moon has no light. The moon is only a planet, or what you call it, is only reflecting light. It has no light, it's dark. وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. And from the evilness or from the harm that will come from the moon when it will be khusuf. What's khusuf? Eclipse. Waqab means when it enters into it enters into an eclipse. When it enters the moon into an eclipse, Allah is saying in Holy Quran, there will be lot of problems and difficulties. And that's why in previous times, we used to see lot of plagues or war or contamination around the earth when the moon entered into eclipse. And that's why Prophet ﷺ prayed 2 rak'at sunnatul khusuf, 2 rak'at for when the moon eclipse, he prayed 2 rak'at for Allah to save them from that harm that might come on us. when the eclipse comes, don't go out and look at the moon, how is the eclipse disappearing, because there will be a negative energy coming and hitting you in your body, in your brain, in your mind, in your heart, in your spirit, in your soul, in everything. That's why Prophet ﷺ, when eclipse comes, enter quickly inside home, pray 2 rak'at sunnatul khusuf, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala safety. So most of the diseases that we are seeing today is coming from the different energy that is being reflected by the moon on earth. And that's why understanding astronomy or astrology in its real meaning is very important, and it shows us how much we are the people on earth being affected from the moon. And that's why Allah is saying in Holy Quran, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ, and from the evenness when the moon goes away and it sets. Sayyida Aisha radiallahu anha wa ardaha said that Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam one day took from her hand and he showed her the moon. And he said, تعوذي بالله من شر هذا. Seek refuge in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the evenness of the moon. فإنه الغاسق. He is the غاسق. He is the planet, or what you say, that thing that has no light in it. It's all dark. فإنه الغاسق إذا وقب وشره الذي يتقى. He said he is the moon, that he is the غاسق, he is the dark, that when it enters in khusuf, it will reflect its badness and harm on humanity, and you have to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to save you from it. He is in the body, his reflection on the body, harmful. And because of it and of the sun, people were confused. Many people, they are worshipping the moon. Many people are worshipping the sun. So the moon and the sun are fitna for people. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing people with them. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, Allah mentioned in the Quran. Sayyidina Ibrahim, فَلَمَّا رَأَى الْقَمَرَ بَازِغًا
فلما رأى القمر قال هذا ربي. فلما أفل قال لا أحب الآفلين. فلما رأى الشمس بازغة قال هذا ربي هذا أكبر. فلما أفلت قال يا قوم إني بريء مما تشركون.
When he saw the moon up in the sky, he said, this is my creator, I am worshipping it. Then what happened? فلما بزغ قال هذا ربي. فلما أفل قال لا أحب الآفلين. When it sat down, it went, it goes. I don't like something that it goes. Means when it was up with its light, he was fascinated with the light that it was producing. And Sayyidina Ibrahim was looking for the source of, he wants that knowledge. So the moon is the source of knowledge. But the moon disappeared. He was reflecting the light of the sun. When it went, it's gone. He said, no, that's not of my Lord. Cannot be the creator. Then he looked. Next day, he saw the sun coming up. He said, this is bigger. This is my Lord. When the sun is also gone, there's no more sun. It sat down. He said, how am I going to accept something that disappears? That's why I have directed my face to my Lord that cannot be seen in dunya, and I am not associating anything with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So moon and the sun was the cause of confusion. Allah was testing his servant, and Sayyidina Ibrahim saved himself by finding the truth. That's why Allah said to Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, say, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَفَ. Allah, Allah. From it, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was sending that surah to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to tell him that magicians, they do their witchcraft and their black magic when the moon is disappearing. And that's why he said, وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. From the moon when it sets down and goes. It is the best time for magicians, magic, or black magic, or voodoo, what you call voodoo, that can be affecting sicknesses on people. And that's why most of voodoo people or magicians, they do their magics on people at the end of the month, when the moon disappears. When the moon disappears, the effect of his negative energy, magicians can take that negative energy and they channel it through their writings and sending it either by writing or blowing it on people to affect them even from far away. That's why Allah said to Prophet, seek refuge in me from these magicians that they are using the moon when it goes away. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ. And from the evil of those who practice witchcraft when they blow in the knots. And Allah is saying to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, not only the moon when it sets and goes away, also from those witchcraft who are blowing, practicing witchcraft, and they blow in the knots. وَمِن شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ. Those people who blow, they read something and they blow. And they blow in order they will affect others in their lives. And this is in Islam, it is said, it is mentioned that there are such people that they can do that. Those who are blowing in knots, what they do, the witchcraft or the magicians, at the end of the time of the moon when it is setting down, they take some ropes Or if they are able to get a hair from someone whom they have to harm. For example, many people, they go to magicians, especially today, like voodoo people or black magic. They take for them some part of clothes of someone, or they take for them some hair from someone, and they ask them to do black magic. So this magician asks them, bring something from that person, that from his clothes or from his hair, or anything that he was wearing. They take that and they make it into small threads. If it is a hair, it is already a thread. If it is a cloth, it makes a small thread. They tie it together and they blow in it with some recitations that they have learned through their life at the end of the month where the moon is setting down. They are blowing and making their magic on people. And that's why it's saying, it's Arabic, he is using it in the place of ruqya, or it is called al-azima, and that's why it's called azima, the protection also. It's of two kinds. One, they can use it for harming. One, they can use it for blessing. It is mentioned by Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhuma and from Aisha, the wife of Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that Prophet had a servant that he used to work for him, and Prophet used to have a comb. That comb, some of its tooth are broken. So he took that man, that boy, his name is Lubayd ibn al-A'sam, he took the tooth of the comb, the teeth of the comb, and gave it to some magician to do witchcraft on Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And after a while, Prophet began to feel that he is physically weak. And I said this story yesterday, the other previous time, that Jibreel and Mikael came to Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Mikael is saying to Jibreel, "Ya Jibreel, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is weak." He said, "Yeah, that man, the guy in al-Asam, gave it to a magician and made magic on Prophet." So at the end of the story, we mentioned it in the previous session, Jibreel told Prophet, and Prophet told his Sahaba to go and pick out that statue that was wrapped with these different knots, wrapping and with knots, 11 of them, and they buried it in a well under a rock. So they brought it out, they took the knots, and they were reading on it, قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ وَمِنْ شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ. And as Prophet ﷺ was reciting, every time he was reciting the surah one time, one of these knots was opening. As he was reciting, one of the knots was opening, he recited 11 times. And that's why it is very important to recite 11 times قُلْ أَعُوذُ رَبِّ الْفَلَقِ and قُلْ أَعُوذُ رَبِّ النَّاسِ before you sleep and blow on yourself. As Prophet ﷺ was reciting and opening it, Jibreel was saying, Bismillahi urqiq, Wallahu yashfiq min kulli shay'in yu'zik. In the name of Allah, I will recite on you, and Allah will cure you from everything that will harm you. Min aynin wa hasidin, from an eye and from evil person. And that's why it is acceptable. فَلِذَا جُوِّزَ الْإِسْتِرْقَاء بِمَا كَانَ مِنْ كَلَامِ اللَّهِ وَكَلَامِ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ. For that reason, it is acceptable for reading on people making ruqya on people from Holy Quran and from the hadith of Prophet ﷺ. You can read on people and blow on them in order that Allah will cure them. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Everything must be in Arabic. You cannot use Syrianic language or Indian language or any kind of language in order to cure people. You have to recite from Holy Quran and from what Prophet ﷺ of hadith of Prophet and dua of Prophet. Then they came to Prophet, they said, Ya Rasulullah, what we will do with that boy that he made magic on you? Do we kill him? And what Prophet Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, أما أنا فقد عافاني Allah. For me, Allah has cured me. وأكره أن أثير على الناس شرا. And I don't like to harm people. So if he harmed me, Allah cured me. Finish, I'm forgiving him. And he forgave that boy. Sayyidah Aisha said, never Prophet ﷺ gets angry from anyone that harmed him. Only he was angry when people come against what Allah doesn't like. That's where his anger was. So that surah is very important for us to learn in order that we will be saving ourselves. And the last verse, وَمِن شَرِّ حَاسِدٍ إِذَا حَسَدَ, and from the evil of the envier when he envies. And we will continue this in the next time, inshaAllah. وَمِنَ اللَّهِ التَّوْفِيقِ بِحُرْمَةِ الْفَاتِحَةِ. Seeing people sleep